I'm sure a question on many people's minds is, why did we run aground? Most people are too embarrassed to ask that question, but it is a question that deserves an answer. Probably the first cause was the extra crew member that we had sailing with us left the yacht in Maputo unexpectedly. And that left us with just Sandy and me having to sail the yacht and look after the children, so that kind of split our duties. The day before we ran aground, we got quite excited because we had headwinds. In other words, we were tacking into the wind all the way up the coast. But off of Mumban we saw giant thunderclouds forming inland, and these swelled up in the afternoon, came out over the sea behind us, astern of us. And we were very excited about this because it looked like we'd finally have some wind from behind to speed us along. So I took down one of our two jibs and reduced the area of the mainsail by reefing it. But when that storm hit, it was just of absolutely unspeakable ferocity. I have never experienced anything like it since. The jib, you must understand, Arwen was built like a Land Rover equivalent in yachting world. She was really strong. She was built out of steel. The sails were heavy duty. The jib just ripped to shreds in that storm. I was trying to keep the yacht sailing on a broad reach, that's with the wind coming sort of over my shoulder on one side, and suddenly the wind switched through 180 degrees and the mainsail jibed. That was with such force that the track which the mainsail was attached to, which was supported on two 10mm thick metal plates that were actually braced into the steel hull, they bent. They just bent over like that, and the rope controlling the mainsail just shredded. It sort of just ripped itself out. So that was very unusual, and that left us pretty exhausted. It also destroyed our self-steering gear that we'd been relying on. So I fitted an extra alternative self-steering gear that we had, which was electronically controlled. Basically worked off a magnetic compass. And we carried on sailing using that. So the form of navigation that I was using was dead reckoning. So this was in the day before sat-nav or GPS was around. So basically you plot your position based on three position lines that you could get, usually something like a lighthouse or a headland. And in my case I used the depth we were on as well, which gave me the 3 points. And so on that fateful night of the 27th, the last night of Arwen's existence, I'd plotted our position fairly accurately. Also, I thought it certainly visually conformed to where I thought we were. And then as darkness fell, I set a course heading out to sea. We were very nearly at the island at that point, and you can see this illustrated in this drawing here, which I did. So around about 2 o'clock in the morning, I thought we were far out to sea and beyond the island because the depth sounder wasn't picking up any depth. And at that point I hove to, because I thought we had hours and hours of safety around us. Fatally, I did the unforgivable and I went below with my safety harness on. I went and sat in the main saloon. It was nice and warm. There was a feeling of achievement because finally, since the age of 13, I'd reached the goal of sailing to a tropical island, and I fell asleep. Unforgivable, I fell asleep. I couldn't have been asleep for more than an hour before we ran aground, so sometime between nightfall and the early hours of the morning, some catastrophic mistake had occurred in the navigation. And instead of heading as far north as I thought we were, we'd actually been pushed inshore, and I don't know why the depth sounder wasn't recording any bottom at the time when we hove to. But that's how we ended up in this situation. And it was to have catastrophic consequences for my family, but as you can see, we did survive. And I'm here to tell the story, and I'll carry on sharing more about that extraordinary time that we spent in the 7 weeks after we were captured. So thanks again for joining me, and until next time, goodbye.